for Flabonga Monthrothacube. With Dale and Tony breaking all the rules, talking tech, biz, and straight up chaos. Quick fire guests, oh yeah, we slay those.
Good afternoon. My name is Dale Rodriguez, and this is Flabonga Monthrothacube. And with me today, I have
Alan Broome.
Hey, Alan. How's it going?
Hi. All good, mate. All good. I know you've got questions for me, but can I just ask what the name of the Flabonga Monthrothacube, what that's all about before we go any further? Is that all right?
It means, you can ask me that, yeah, sure. First of all, it means absolutely nothing. When I first started doing this, it had no brand whatsoever. And one of my good friends, Nick, came on the show and said, hey, man, what shall I call it? And he went, Flabonga Monthrothacube, because he's Mancunian.
All right.
And I went, what does that mean? He went, I have no clue, mate. I just made it up.
Cool. Well, that works.
Yeah.
That works. I suspected that was going to be the answer, Dale, but I thought I would clarify just because hopefully once we get the massive audience that watches this, hopefully somebody's going to ask me the question so I can answer it.
It's not a massive audience. It's usually my mum and my cat who are supporting me, and that's pretty much it. So
okay.
Thank you.
Well,
yeah.
maybe.
Also, thank you for pronouncing it well, because it's a hard word to say.
Maybe my mum will pop along as well and add 50%. That'd be cool.
I say that your local bookkeeper, aka Catherine Frimond, is joining us from YouTube and watching. She says the music just scared the crap out of me trying to watch from YouTube today, mixing up. Catherine, thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for commenting. That's really, really cool. Feel free to ask Alan lots of questions. That's what he's here for.
Yep.
All right, Alan, let's get the serious stuff out of the way first, right? So we know your name, Alan Broome. What company are you representing?
I'm the managing director of Acumenica Group.
Okay. And what is Acumenica Group?
We're an accounting firm, non-traditional, I would like to say, accounting firm. We focus on dealing with freelancers, contractors, consultants, design agencies, service providers, effectively.
Okay. When you say freelancers, are they freelancers in any particular industry, or can it be any industry providing they're like a freelancer?
Traditionally, we've been in the kind of creative industries and IT and finance, but of course, the freelancers' requirements tend to be very similar regardless of the industry that they operate in.
Okay. Question for you: Why freelance? Why did you niche into that particular area?
Well, we're going back. We'll have to go back maybe probably about 20 years, 25 years maybe, before IR35 was a thing. Most people know what we're talking about there. But in terms of how I like the Acumenica is, I ran with a partner. I ran a traditional accounting firm that looked after all sorts of small businesses. And it just happened, you might not be able to remember this. In fact, you're a good bit younger than me, so you won't be able to remember it. But there used to be a thing called composite companies where contractors, freelancers were all members of the one company, and they had alphabet shares and stuff so that they could all get equal different dividends. It was very tax efficient, but HMRC looked at it, didn't like it, so they effectively outlawed it, which required that all these contractors either had to go via an umbrella company, which nobody wanted to do, or set up their own limited company. And it just so happened that at that time, my cousin's husband was in that position, and my cousin says, go and see Alan, he might be able to sort you out with a company, and because she knew what I'd done, sort of thing. And he came and brought, this was a face-to-face meeting, remember those? He came and he brought, I think, 5 or 6 of his colleagues from, I want to say they were working with RS, it might be Tesco Bank or someone anyway. They're all contractors. They're all on nice money, and no one needed their limited company set up. And I said, well, yeah, we can do that. So we got six clients, 6 new clients, and that was the kind of nucleus of our contract business. I then looked at it and was in the kind of analytical mind that accountants are supposed to have. I was looking at the relative ease and straightforwardness and the ability to kind of do the same things over and over with these clients. I'm thinking this is much more profitable effectively than looking after, and with all due respect to coffee shops and other retailers, it was a hell of a lot easier. But bear in mind, we weren't really using automation or anything at that time. We're going back, a lot of paper involved in Excel spreadsheets and stuff. So I'm going, this is a great opportunity. Where my office is a place called Grangemouth, which is central Scotland. Grangemouth, you'll be aware of Ineos company. They had a massive refinery in Grangemouth, and probably about half the workforce was contractors, single man contractors, one man limited company contractors. Sorry. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking there's a huge opportunity here. So we lent into that. I had a conversation with my business partner at the time, and he didn't see the opportunity as I saw it. So at that stage, I said, "Well, I'm really looking into this." So we split the business up. I went one way, he went another. All fine, no animosity or anything. And then we built the contracting side from there, and that just grew arms and legs. And as that industry kind of developed and changed, we moved from solely for contractors, but we also now look after people who are consultants who were once contractors and therefore set up consultancies and design agencies and so on. So that's very quickly how we got to where we are.
That's awesome. Would you recommend someone who's starting up in industry, starting their own business as an accountant or bookkeeper, should they go for contractors, or do you think it's a saturated market?
Contractors is the market's contracting. Forgive the kind of crappy pun. So I would, if I was going to focus on someone, I would perhaps steer clear of contract exclusively, but I would certainly advocate picking a niche and leaning into that. You know, definitely. I would prefer them not to niche into my niche right enough, you know. So that's another reason why I would prefer them not to go into contractors.
I have to ask, because I'm slightly distracted by your background. It's not a midlife crisis, it's a Porsche. Does that mean you're a Porsche guy, Alan?
I'm a Porsche guy, yeah, I'm afraid so. This was actually my son. You'll not be able to read that, but it says, "Happy 50th birthday, Dad, you're old," from Robbie, Jamie and Erin. So that was my 50th birthday a couple of years ago, and my son, who now lives in Brooklyn actually, but he's a designer, that was a sarcastic present to their old man.
So how many Porsches have you owned in your lifetime?
3.
3. Which models have they been?
So I had my first one, a 718 Cayman, lovely car, that was white, and then I graduated to a 911 Carrera. Now I'm on a 911 Carrera 4S Targa.
I was going to say, like, anyone who likes Porsches is going to have a 911 at some point. It's the quintessential.
Well, you know, you say that, and you're probably right. It's the kind of definitive Porsche, I suppose. But I do think that it might have been because it was my first one. I'll qualify that by saying that the Cayman was a cracking car. You know, it was a right go-kart. So I mean the 911's a nice motor. Don't get me wrong. Nobody's going to say I don't want a 911.
Going back a step, you mentioned your son got that present for you. He's in Brooklyn. He's a designer. How many kids do you have?
3 kids.
3 kids. Which one's your favourite? Can we gloss over that and I'll just say one of the dogs are my favourite. No, I suppose I need to say Jamie's my favourite because he's looking at me at the moment. Jamie's in the business. I've got 3 guys, so
Robbie's my oldest. Robbie's 28 month. This month actually it is now. He's out in Brooklyn. Got married last year. Living his best life. Jamie, the awkward middle child, he was for us here, and Erin is 18. She's just started university doing international marketing.
Oh wow, that sounds intense.
I mean, if you can remember back to when you were at uni, and actually probably having to attend lectures and what have you, you wouldn't think when you look at Erin's calendar that it's anything close to intense. Like it's about.
True.
I think she's in uni about 8 hours a week or something. You know, it's a change days.
Cool. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to jump into the comments real quick because the pause conversation sparks a debate. So first, we've got John Toon. John Toon, if you put 50p in the slot, what gets revealed when the dodgy curtains behind Dale open? Ha ha ha! Very funny, John. Mocking my background. I'm out and about today, John. That's why I've got the background. Sam Green. The new Porsche Taycan Turbo GT goes 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, which blows my mind. That is a very fast car, Sam. And John Toon, I thought he was joining us from a dodgy film set. Thanks, Sam. Nice guy. And John talking about the GT3 RS is surely the definitive 911. Is it? Is it? I would say the 911 Turbo. Like the 1988 911 Turbo. That's in my opinion.
I think we're probably getting into territory that I'm qualified to discuss. I like cars, but I don't know an awful lot about cars. I'm kind of shallow and vapid when it comes to the Porsches. I just like the look. I don't know an awful lot about under the bonnet. Although my mate has got a GT3 RS, and it feels that I got a shot at it. It feels actually like a definitive, not just the definitive Porsche. It felt like the definitive car. It was an extraordinary 5 minutes. Like, you know, it was special.
Yeah. Oh, got a shout out from Mark Cowison. He's a fellow guy from Scotland. Oh, hello, fellow Wallace Army soldier for Aberdeen. Mark Cowison. He's a great guy. LHR Marine, very good company.
All right.
Sorry,
okay.
I've interrupted you with comments, and I was supposed to be talking to you and asking you questions. So one
That's
important
all right.
question. On your profile, you say something about a one-page management accounts. For the layman or the layperson, what are management accounts, and why would I need them as a business owner?
Right. Let's divide the room, especially if there's accountants listening, because it's every time I've mentioned one-page management accounts, it's divided the room. So,
Okay.
and it divides it into two particular categories: accountants and not accountants. But management accounts, as you'll know, accounts that are provided to provide management information to the management. So accounts that stay within the company.
Yep.
And generally speaking, if they're done outside by accountants, there'll be a 40-page document and very small, with loads of numbers and columns and opaque
Forget the
graphs.
gearings and the ratios. Don't forget that stuff. That's very important stuff in the management accounts.
All that crap, you know. And while that's not fair to say that, really. And while that,
Alan, you said it. It's out there. All that crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Let's lean into it then. My experience is that. Bear in mind, I'm coming from a smaller business side of things that might not have any finance expertise within the business, so they don't have they've no finance group or a finance director or possibly even an accountant. They're likely to have a bookkeeper, but they'll be transactional, but won't be able to interpret they won't have the knowledge to interpret the management accounts to get. So they get this big report every month, every 3 months, every whatever. They look at it and they go, holy shit, nearly. What am I supposed to do with this? They'll look for 3 or 4 key numbers. They'll say, all right, my revenue was this, it's up 13% on last month. Profits there, cash burn's fine, blah, blah, blah. Close it, put it in a drawer, never to look at it again. Feel like an odd kind of process to be paying for an accountant to do that, and then for it not to be not to be used as it's intended, sort of thing. What we're trying to establish at the moment is, I said earlier, there are 4 or 5 key numbers that they're interested in. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to distill everything in this 40-page report onto one page sheet A4, and that's the one-page management accounts that the business owner gets, or the senior team gets. They look at it and they go, right, these are the things that I need to know. I now know them. And then it sits, and then they can look at it, and it's there all the time. It's not overwhelming, and it's a simple aid memoir, and it's kind of like a dashboard, if you like. They got all the information that they need without too much. I mean, if we're going to get particularly philosophical, I'm a great believer in Occam's razor, which is
simplest method. Yep.
Simplest method, and that's what's kind of influencing the one-page management accounts.
I agree with you, because I am a non-accountant, and I've seen management account packs that are 40 pages, and I go, I don't need to know any of this stuff. I need to like the first 5 things you mentioned, like revenue, profitability, cash flow burn, all that kind of stuff. That's stuff I want to know. I don't want to know about gearings and ratios. I now kind of understand them because people have taught me, but I'm like, it doesn't help me at all. So yeah, I'm with you.
And I said that it kind of divides the room. So I put a post up regarding this on LinkedIn. As you're probably aware, I post most things on LinkedIn, and the non-accountant said, great idea. Summarising, obviously, the non-accountant says, great idea, this, just what we need. What's the point of getting all this extraneous information? Whereas the accountant said, it'll never work. We need much more detailed information. Even the briefest information requires a drill down, etc. So, however, from my perspective, we're doing this for accountants, we're doing it for business owners, so it still feels to me like it'll work.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask you one of my silly questions? I've got a few.
Go for it.
If you could punch one fictional character in the face and get away with it with no repercussions, which fictional character would you punch in the face?
Does it need to be fictional?
Preferably. I don't want any lawsuits or any beef on the internet, so preferably fictional. I mean, people have said real people. Catherine, if you're still watching.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You get those dream dinner party lists. People ask, who would you have at your dream dinner party? I had the opposite. I had a nightmare dinner party list about. I don't think I really had any fictional characters on it, but there was 4 real people. I can tell you those. That would probably hit the punch in the face metric.
Go for it. Go. The 4 people you want to punch in the face with no repercussions.
So it was. Let me remember. Amanda Holden, James Corden, Alison Hammond, and somebody else. I can't remember.
The good news is all 3 of those people will never watch this show, so you haven't really called them out. They're not going to see it.
Oh well. I'll try and think of fictional character. There's none spring to mind at the moment.
Okay. Would you like a serious question or a daft question again?
Let's have a serious one, I suppose.
Okay. Why did you get into accounting, and what would you recommend a younger person trying to get into accounting? By younger, I mean someone like 17, 18, kind of school leaver age. So 2 questions in one.
Right. Okay. Well, I fell into it, quite honestly. My dad had a firm. I was going to be a journalist. That was the plan. I wanted to be a journalist, music journalist. Like late 80s, I wanted to be a staffer for the NME. But my dreams were probably a bit grand. So as it happened, when I left school, pardon me, my dad had just set up a very small firm at home, working for the extension at the back of the house. But at that time wasn't a normal thing. I know it's absolutely normal to do that now, but at that time it was fairly unusual. just servicing, as we discussed already, just any kind of business. And I was left school, wasn't quite ready for university, and I was beginning to drift a wee bit, and my dad says, well, come and work for me, and he needed me to like do some like all the crappy stuff that the junior gets doing, so sorting invoices into order and dealing with receipts and stuff. And I says, right, okay. And I went and worked for him, and it started as, like I say, really over the summer, and then it developed into like a full-time job. And then when I was 22, my dad took ill. No, seriously ill, but serious enough that I had to retire. So I was thrown in at the very, very deep end, and I had to run from then. So your question was why accounting. I'm not really the guy to answer that, because it was accounting was me rather than another way about, really,
It's surprising. I've asked the question to a few accountants. You'd be amazed how many people say, I fell into the world of accountancy, or I fell into it. So I kind of get that. And the second part of the question was, what would you advise for a younger person getting into accountancy? Like, why should they do it? What route could they take? What's enjoyable about the job?
I mean, there's a degree of cliche in this, but the good thing about this job, and pretty much any job, is you get to meet a diverse range of people. For me, it's dealing with a diverse range, not a diverse range of businesses, because we work in a niche, so they're very similar. But the people who run these businesses are very different, and I think that's a big enjoyment for me is meeting new people. And again, forgive the cliche, because I'm very much against cliche. But being able to make a difference to their businesses and ultimately their lives, But if I was to say to a 17, 18-year-old, maybe looking to go and take their degree and then go into progress into a large firm, or should they go into a kind of modern apprenticeship basis and work with a smaller firm, it'd be difficult to say. But if I had to go and do it again, and I know if I was to straw poll my team as well, they've all come through the small business, the smaller practice. I would say take that rather than go and work for, get one of the big six or big four or big three or big two. I forget how many they've contracted into, and you get put in a basement with a desktop and no windows, and you're just given the same endless sort of hamster wheel task. I mean, I don't know if I would fancy that,
No.
All right, there's the glory and cachet working for a big firm, but that wears off quite quickly when you're not enjoying it,
Yeah, I agree. And I want to go back a step as well. So you wanted to be a music journalist, specifically for NME. What inspired you to do that? Obviously, it means you must like music. Who are your top 3 favorite bands or artists? There you go.
Well, I mean, you can have a wee look there. So if we can just, so we've got the one with George Best on the front. That's a band called The Wedding Present. Below that's the Wonder Stuff, and then at the other side is Joy Division and the Hiltons. But yes, and to answer your question, when I was a lad, I was music daft, and I continue to be so, really. I was.
Okay. What's the best gig you've ever been to?
Well, I had the great good pleasure at Oasis at Murrayfield a couple of weeks ago. 6 weeks ago, actually, now, when I think about it. And that was pretty special, I've got to say. I'd been hyped up to the extent that I was thinking this is going to reach, it's not going to live up to the hype sort of thing, but it did. So I've got to say that probably would be the best gig I've been at. Although the Jesus and Mary chain at the Glaralaunds, when I lost my shoe and I had to walk back to the train station with one shoe on, was pretty good as well.
That was how did you lose your shoe?
Well, because I was a young 18-year-old, 19-year-old in the down the front at the Barrowlands, jumping about like a madman, and I lost. Somebody must have stood on my heel, and the shoe came off or something. So, and I had no option but to walk back to Queen Street Station, which is anybody from Glasgow will tell you, is a decent walk, and I had to walk on one shoe.
Fair enough. That sounds like a pretty epic adventure. I'm going to ask a negative version of that question. What's the worst gig you've ever been to?
REM at Murrayfield.
Really?
Oh, awful. It was, again, probably around about the same time as that Jesus and Mary Chain gig. My wife got us tickets. At that time, I wasn't looking to be going to gigs and what do you call them? Stadiums, you know, arena gigs. I was more kind of small stuff. And the tickets, the seats that we had were miles away. It was a windy night, so the sound was terrible. I don't think it even lasted very long. You know, it was just one of those kind of crappy gigs. And also, just by the way, just if you're wanting another bit of trivia, I was at one of only 2 gigs that Nirvana played at Scotland as well, at the Colton Studios in Edinburgh.
That's pretty cool. Just going to jump into the comments real quick because Kevin Lord has commented twice. We need to give him a shout out. Kevin Lord, Free Agent FM, UK Cloud Accounting First podcast. I assume you've had a chat with Kevin at some point in the past?
Oh, I know Kevin very well, yes. Was that... I don't know if he's meaning that I was on that, kind of remember. Maybe I was.
Well, let's go back to the one. He says, all right, Alan, amazingly, it's almost 6 years to the day since you joined me on the Free Agent FM. We were trending setters, mate.
All right, there you go.
Wait,
I was right enough then, I remember.
Do you know Kevin from Free Agent or from elsewhere?
I know Kevin from Free Agent.
To be fair, now that you say it, it makes sense. Free Agent are aimed at contractors, and you work with contractors, and you're both in Scotland, so yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, fair enough.
It makes a bunch of sense, aye.
Yeah.
We chose Free Agent for that reason.
No, it's a great product.
We were I would say so, and it's getting better. You know, it's evolving. Exactly. It's evolving in the same kind of direction as we are, which is nice. You know, where originally, and I don't think anybody at Free Agent will disagree with me here, it was really only suited for contractors, really, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's suited quite well to other areas of the business or business that we're interested in as well. So
it's certainly a good part of our portfolio as well. So we've got a lot of again contractors and smaller clients, and they don't want to pay for certain software, and we're like, if you get yourself a NatWest bank account or a Metal bank account, you can get Free Agent and it will solve that MTD problem straight away.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Easy win.
Aye.
All right, time for a daft question again. Alan.
Okay.
If you were a biscuit, what kind of biscuit would you be that accurately portrays your personality and why, but don't just pick your favourite biscuit?
Man, these questions are ridiculous.
They are.
That portrays my personality.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. What about the? Have you had the chocolate coated custard creams from Marks and Spencer's?
I didn't know those existed, Alan. You've just enlightened me. Chocolate coated custard creams.
Go and find them. I think maybe a lot of my team would say that those are indicative of me because they're a wee bit on the side.
Sorry, did you say, I didn't quite hear you there. You broke up a wee bit on the fancy side, did you say?
Thick.
Oh, thick. Okay.
My team insists that I'm kind of stupid, you know. I'm no, but my team like to tell me.
It sounds like you've got a good team who are willing to tell you as it is.
Absolutely. I've got a great team. Small. There's only 8 of us. One just started today, which was a pleasure to bring Kirsty on board. But there's 8 of us, and they're a good team, and then they keep me straight. Allows me to go and do I was going to say stupid shit like this. That's probably no fair because it's an important thing, but it allows you
First
to
of
have
all,
these.
Alan, you're 100% correct. This show is completely daftness, so I'm not offended by you saying stupid shit like this.
Fair
I'll
enough.
take it. That does lead to a serious question, though. Serious question. What advice would you give to people during the hiring process? How did you know, the good hires, the bad hires? What's made your team work so well?
It's difficult for me. I'm very much a personalities guy, Again, because we're a small firm and a small team. If you've got somebody whose personality doesn't work, then it completely shits the bed. It makes a complete mess of everything. So I would say hire on personality and train the ability. But obviously you've got to make sure that they're not a complete donut as well. But as it happens, the last couple of people that I've hired, Ikra, shout out to Ikra, who just joined us in February, and Kirsten joined us today. I hired based on knowing them rather than a CV. In fact, I don't even have seen any other CVs. I'm not interested in CVs. I had a conversation, and not an interview conversation, just a chat over a cup of coffee or a beer, of you. Find out what they're capable of. Find out what their personality is like, and make a decision there. I appreciate that's a fairly simplified way of doing it. I've got people that's worked for me for. Well, Rachel's been here for 17 years. She advised me this morning. I've got Alison, I think, is probably 10 years. Angela's 17 years as well, actually. So whether whether it's orthodox or no, I'm not so sure, but it's effective. So I'll stick to doing it that way.
I realise I'm asking you lots of questions. It's supposed to be somewhat conversational. Do you have any questions for me, good sir? I'm hogging all the questions.
No, you crack on. I mean, I appreciate that. I'm being interviewed, I suppose. So I'm happy you continue asking me the questions. I'll put you on the spot.
Would you like a serious one or a silly one?
What was the last one? Was serious? So I suppose I'll need to be silly.
Okay. First, there's a setup to this question. Do you drink coffee?
Yes.
Okay. So this question is in honor of my co-host Tony, who couldn't join us today. His question is, all right, so you drink coffee. Now, obviously, you will usually go to your local artisanal coffee shop for the best coffee ever. But if you can't make it to your favorite coffee place and you have to choose a big chain, which chain coffee shop will you choose?
Easy answer. So, pardon me, in descending order, I don't even know if the first one's UK wide. So, is Black Sheep, is that well down south?
Black Sheep are good, yep.
I had a feeling that was just Scottish for some reason, I don't know. So I would go Black Sheep, Cafe Nero, Costa. Starbucks wouldn't even get mentioned. In fact, I'm not convinced that what Starbucks serve is coffee.
So Tony and I have, obviously we'll ask this question live to guests, and we disagree. I think Black Sheep are up there. We kind of agree on that one. I say Costa, and he says Starbucks. And the difference is, right, because basically Costa and Starbucks do different sizes when you have milk in your coffee, and I like black coffee. So I think Costa's black coffee is better, and he thinks Starbucks is better because they give you the right amount of milk and coffee ratio. So we strongly disagree, he and I.
Okay, that's fair. We'll forgive Tony. He's seeing as how I think you said he's just had a kid recently, so we'll forgive him for not having any brains in that respect. But Starbucks, you're right, and it's probably a fair assessment of it. The problem that I've got is I just don't like milk at all. Again, had a conversation with Kirsten, who started this morning. We were talking about I was making her a cup of tea. She wanted milk in her tea. We didn't have milk. Had to send somebody to get milk because milk's disgusting. And then we went on and had the conversation. But milk in coffee is just It's just weird, man. I don't get it
You know,
at all.
I do like milk, and I will drink a glass of milk. But I agree with you. Milk and coffee, it doesn't need to be there. And I also dislike it when I order an americano and they go, "Do you want milk in that?" And I was like, the whole point of an americano is it's black coffee. There shouldn't be milk in a black coffee. It irks me somewhat.
Yeah, well, speaking of Americano, I'm going to America next week to see my son, and the coffee in America is shockingly bad. It's atrocious.
Is
It's just, I mean, it might not be, but for my taste, it's terrible.
Because I've heard good things about Australian coffee.
Right? Never been. Portugal regularly, and the Portuguese coffee is excellent. I would rate that highly.
Well, the difference between English coffee, the English coffee scene and the Australian coffee scene is, in England, being a barista is considered just like a, I don't know, mundane job, and you have to rely on tips. In Australia, they are paid to be professional baristas, and you can earn a decent wage, and you can have like barista competitions, and there's baristas out there who are earning like, you know, 80K a year USD being baristas because they're prized for the skill of crafting the coffee, which I think is incredible. So I need to get to Australia just for the coffee alone.
I think that you make a good point. I find that's it's relevant in the wider hospitality industry in this country. Actually, a job waitressing or waiting, that's the word, or anything in the hotels and what have you, is generally just a kind of job until your career starts, or you know what I mean. It's not something that you're going to do as a career. But as you go abroad, you're telling me that it happens in Australia. I start to find in continental Europe, people take service that very seriously because it's a career, as you say, you know. And you go to the same restaurant 5 years and visit it twice with a gap of 5 years, and it's the same staff that are in it because it's a career and they take that seriously. And I think that's reflected in the service you get, you know.
I agree. That leads to another question. If you weren't, what other career would you have been? You said journalist. You said journalist earlier, didn't you? But anything else?
I would still say I would probably lean into that, you know. I would still quite like to be even now, I would quite like to be a journalist.
Okay. Wait,
I think I'm probably too late to change career these days.
Nah, Alan, it's never too late. I believe in you.
Thanks, man. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be happy. Let's just go with journalist. That's me. But no, okay. By the way, I should add, no, a financial journalist, a business journalist, or anything along those lines. It would need to be music or quite like food. So maybe somewhere in the or I could be a restaurant critic. That would be quite fun.
Yeah. Okay, another serious question. For the layman or layperson, could you explain what a journal is? Accountants love to journal things around, put it in a journal. What's a journal?
Man, that's a stinker.
I know. I ask it on purpose.
Yeah, because everybody knows a journal. It's a journal. Just journal it. You know, it's a journal. I think probably the easiest thing to say is it's an adjustment to a figure with actually any money changing hands. How about that?
I mean, that's the most concise answer I've got. I remember asking Tony when he was a guest. I've asked a few other accountants. They've had to try and explain double entry to explain it, but that was a very concise answer. Thank you. You nailed it.
There you go. Back to Occam's razor, you see.
What should I ask you about? Okay, now going back to the one-page management account, I forgot to ask you this. So it's a service that you deliver. Is it something you're planning to build into a software and like resell that, or is it something that you think people should do based on their skill? Am I making sense?
I absolutely. I know what you mean. Well, I suppose ideally, and we need to check to see if this is possible. I'm pretty sure once we've established what needs to be on this one-page report, then you'd hope that we would be able to use an API to put that information from various like Free Agent, Zero, Well, no QuickBooks, because QuickBooks is an abomination. But
Mate,
you know,
I love your candor. Honestly, you're just saying it. You're just saying it.
Well, there's no point in sugar kind of thing. So we would like to be able to add that to our armory of services that we provide. Obviously, be a premiumized product, but we're very much at the start of it. So we're just creating the process. I think for now it would be a case of extracting information from the accounting software onto Google Sheets or Excel and running a script to get it to where we want. But
Okay.
much complication for me at the moment on that basis. So we're just developing the idea, you know.
I will take that as an FM exclusive. There might be some software coming to the market soon. We don't know, but it could happen. Boom.
Okay.
I'll take it. Cool, mate. It's been fun chatting to you. We're going to wrap it up. And the only reason, I'm going to lie, the only reason I'm wrapping it up, I could talk to you for longer, is I really need to take a wee, and I did pee before we started doing this, and I've been busting the whole time. So sorry, people viewing that.
That's all right. I mean, if ever there was a good reason, it's that.
Yeah. So before we go, do you have one pearl of wisdom, nugget, or bombshell, or piece of advice you want to go out on? I'll hit end stream after you finish that line or statement.
Well, as anybody who knows me, either through LinkedIn professionally or personally, we have maxim acumenica, and just follow this, you'll be all right. And that maxim is: don't be a dick.